Last weekend I ran the Valencia Marathon. In this video I'll take you through what I did to recover from this marathon this week and what my goals are going forward for the rest of December and into the new year. I thought it'd be useful to run through what I'm doing at the moment to recover from this marathon. So it's now on Friday, post the marathon, and I'm doing something that's called, it's been more recently coined, the reverse taper. So if you're thinking to what you did before the marathon, where you're tapering down your load, you're reducing your load and intensity going into the marathon, we're doing the opposite here. So my objective here is to increase my load from pretty much zero after a marathon back up to a good place to start, to have that base to train again. A bit of a timeline of my recovery. So I obviously finished the marathon on Sunday and flew back from Valencia that evening. So we did fly to Stansted, which was about a 2.5–3 hour drive from where I live. So didn't get back until about 3 in the morning, Monday morning. I was at work that day as well, so that day was kind of, I was aching anyway, so I wouldn't have run, but a bit of a write-off just to sort of get through it and catch up on some sleep, get an early night that night. Same goes for Tuesday. Probably felt worse on the Tuesday. Of course, you get that 48 hours delayed onset of muscle soreness, which made going down the stairs pretty difficult. So my objective there was just to keep my legs moving, keep stretching, obviously not running yet. So I decided on Wednesday to give it a go. Still feeling a little bit stiff, so sort of the outsides of my quads were aching, probably with it being very flat at Valencia and all over really. I always got some aches and pains, so it was good just to get out. Went out with Ben and we did a little jog around the local loop, but only about 3 to 4 miles. I then did the same thing on Thursday and it started to ease up a bit by then, and by the time of me running today I'm feeling a bit better, but still only good for doing a bit of easy running. At this stage it's so important for me to listen to my body, to make the call on when to step up my training and progressively overload again. So I will be making that call as to when to do my first sort of interval session, first tempo session, first part run effort, those kind of things. And I don't think I'm just ready just yet. Really, I'm only at about 4 miles distance on my easy runs, so I'd like to push up to 6–7 miles on my easy runs before starting a session to get any benefit out of that. So once I've got back into a regular running routine, I'd like to share some of my goals, what I'm looking to push towards, which will hopefully let me achieve what I want to do times-wise within the marathon and the other distances. And really, when it boils down to it, when I put them all together, the main thing, it might sound pretty simple, pretty stupid, is just to run more. So my main goal is to get out running more, and that's to be consistent. That's the only way I'm going to achieve this. So what I mean by this is I don't mean running 20, 30, 40 miles at a time. What I mean is getting out running every day, sometimes twice a day, and building that load up sensibly, a lot of easy running, which will improve my aerobic base, which is the key over the marathon to sustaining that endurance, particularly past 20 miles or so. I'm going to keep banging on about the C word, so that word being consistency, and I think that is the most important part of my training. If I'm honestly critically looking back at my training, my performances over the years, I look back to a period around when I ran my marathon PB in sort of April of 2023. So at this time I don't felt that I had a very good block going into that marathon, but the marathon before, at the end of 2022, I feel that I had a really good training block going into that I could have achieved sort of a 250 at that time. It wasn't to be at Frankfurt, but I believe that the training I put in and that sort of compounding on the training that I then did in the new year leading up to April 2023, and that consistency of building block on block
is really what enabled me to get that time. So I want to be rolling from this block. I know it didn't go perfectly, but the first 6 or 7 weeks were pretty good. Going from Valencia, I want to be building on this and building on it for my next race. It's all well and good me keep saying that I want to be consistent, but I need to know how I'm going to be more consistent with my running. And I think those things are the extra bits outside of running that enable you to run more. So that's focusing on recovery, sort of the nutrition side of things, and S&C. So that's something I'll take a little bit more seriously this time and try and build those habits now in December, even if it's only once a week on certain things, to build up, put those habits in place so that they become routine in January when I'm starting my next training block. That is the plan for the rest of December. So this for me will be like an early New Year's resolution. So I've got my fresh start post Valencia Marathon. I can really forge those good habits and hopefully be in a good place to start the next training block and be a bit of a better runner in the new year.
By Saturday, I felt that I'd recovered enough to try a little bit of an effort within my easy run. So I called it a 6x3 minute session, which strictly it wasn't quite as hard as when I do a proper interval session, but I did have some increasing efforts within those 3 minutes. So I was able to hit around 640, 650 pace for those 3 minute efforts, and the run totaled around 5.5 miles. If you ran this weekend, you'll have braved Storm Dara, and hats off to you for doing so. With that being in mind, I did, after my session, hop over to the Cloud Trail and join Sam on the bike for pacing her session. So she can run obviously a lot faster than I can, so I was able to keep up on the bike and keep her out of the wind on the Cloud Trail. Moving on to Sunday's run, so I wanted to get a longer run effort into my legs. I wasn't bothered about putting any type of pace in there. It turns out I managed to get to 10 miles in just under 8-minute mile pace, which really does build that base now that I can build on this, maybe get up to half marathon distance next week and keep on building on this to build up my long run into the next training block. Looking ahead to next week, I feel that my legs and body have recovered sufficiently now to start sessions and start getting back to a bit more routine. So I did total 28 miles this week post marathon, which isn't too bad. Managed to keep the legs moving with a few shorter runs, and then introduced that sort of a session and a longer run at the weekend. So quite pleased with how I've bounced back from Valencia, and I'll be looking to get a bit more mileage in next week, but not too much that I'm progressing the mileage too quickly and it can have a negative effect on my body. Thanks again for watching this video and for your support on the channel. If you did enjoy the video, give it a like, think about subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.